A few years ago on a podcast, Bill Burr was talking about his Netflix stand-up specials, and he was saying that in the modern era, he sees his specials more as like an ad, as a way to broadcast to the world to let people know that he's still a touring stand-up comedian. And I think he was kind of bringing that up because I think in the past people have seen stand-up specials as like pieces of art that stand on their own 2 feet and are kind of like the pinnacle, um crowning glory of your career, as opposed to just like an ad that's meant to fuel more kind of touring. And so I found that really interesting, and I think that that kind of concept has only been exacerbated in that I really feel like podcasting has made stand-up specials somewhat redundant over the last few years, and I think it's kind of got to do with the artistic side of things, like the changing nature of comedy in the past, the theatrical performance and the kind of like the acceptance of listening to someone's prepared routine was just kind of like the norm. But now I feel like we love to eavesdrop on seemingly free flowing, unplanned podcasts. There's all those memes of like people, taking stock footage, photos, and then like adding themselves onto the side and being like, just me hanging out with my bros. Like you can listen to the Adam Friedland show or Matt and Shane's Secret Pod and be like, yeah, just hanging out with my bros. Except I'm the dude who never says anything, and they don't know I'm there. So anyway, I feel like people prefer that type of human now, as opposed to stand up where it feels almost like vaudevillian or something. But I feel like it's also kind of like got something to do with the financial uh side of things, in that the subscription model rules the world right now. And so you think about all the different fucking subscriptions you have to have, Netflix and fucking Disney for the kids and blah blah blah. They're getting so much money out of you, and it's predictable ongoing revenue. You've got so many of these fucking subscriptions you don't know, and they can just bank so much more money over time, as opposed to having to put a lot of money into something and really hoping it pays off, whether it's like tons of eyeballs on Netflix to watch a stand-up special, or a lot of people buying a book, or a lot of people watching a new movie, as opposed to just the someone like Bill Burr doing a comedian. He just gets his fucking Zoom recorder, lies on his bed, talks shit for 45 minutes, throws some ads in there, sends it to his producer. There's zero fucking overhead on an operation like that. And he's probably making thousands of dollars every single episode. So I think the his original idea of the pieces of legacy media, whether it be a stand-up special, um, or a movie or a book, I definitely see those things as advertisements now. And I think in Burr's original point, he was pointing to the fact that his stand-up special was uh pointing people towards his other tour dates. And that still exists, but I think that now, by and large, comedians want that they're using their live dates to get people to listen to their podcast. I feel like it's flipped, as opposed to the podcast used to be the ad. And anyway, I definitely feel like I know personally, I still enjoy going to see live comedy. I The last two comedians I saw Doug Stanhope like 6 months ago here at the Buckhead Theater in Atlanta, and then I saw Shane Gillis a few months after that at some really fucking fancy uh theater here, which was weird for a comic like that to play there. But it reminded me of when I was at university, I saw Bob Dylan play the Burswood Theatre in my hometown of Perth. and we were all just these kind of like stoner, wannabe intellectual fuckheads, and so you're all going to get into Bob Dylan at that period in your life, and so we're all mad into Dylan stuff, and then you know that he's like a 60-year-old man or whatever he was at the time. But it was still fucking fun because we got had some fucking bucket bongs and had a couple of beers and then went into the Burswood Theater and the guy was like, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Dylan. And then little Bob came out, this little Ant-Man, this tiny little dude, and sat at the piano. And I remember sitting in the fucking Burswood Dome or whatever it was, baked out of my mind, and just being um amazed at the spectacle, being like, holy fuck, that's the dude. That's the same flesh and bones that, got called Judas in London all those years ago, and had all this crazy shit. Uh, Looked awkward when they were all singing "We Are the World," and all those experiences, all those moments. Is that one dude right there? And the show was pretty average, to be honest, but it was still a cool experience because you're like, that's the dude. I felt the same way kind of when I saw Stanhope and Gillis. I generally probably prefer listening to the pods now. I guess I'm one of these people where I find podcasting is a more apt medium to capture humor in 2023. However, it was still interesting and fun to go there and be like, oh yeah, that's the dude. He's right there. I'm in the same room as that guy. So I feel like there's still obviously a place for live stand up and live performance and big movies and all that type of shit. But yeah, the subscription model isn't going anywhere. And so I feel like that's why podcasting is kind of killed, or at least really hurt the medium of stand up in the last couple of years.